All right. How's it going, beautiful people of Facebook? This is Jose Trujillo once again. I'm back, baby. I'm back. Coming to you from my art studio with another awesome art session. Okay, this is going to be a super duper awesome art session. Why? Because I will give you a little. It's not a little, but I'll call it a little nugget of wisdom that I've learned over the years of painting. Okay, I'm gonna do a landscape painting right now. So I've talked to artists and non-artists and different people over my awesome lifetime. And one thing always keeps popping up. No matter where I go, no matter what I do, one thing keeps popping up. We're all kind of looking for... See, the whole thing is that we get stuck. This is my whole chant. People tend to get stuck in what is the... You know, we have all sorts of names for procrastination. We call it different things. It always shows up in one way or another. It shows up in different disguises, you know. Sometimes they may show up as shame, like, oh man, I can't believe I'm not doing it, you know. Nevertheless, be careful. It's still procrastination. Don't call it something else. And then, oh, sorry about that, camera. That used to happen to me a lot. Sometimes it'll show up in perfectionism. It almost always shows up in perfectionism. Almost always. It's like, well, I'll do it when I, painters tend to use this a lot. When I get my style or my voice, but it's not just painters. I mean, it's everyone who's suffering from procrastination. And this sort of stuff always happens, and I'm always kind of like wondering, what is it? Why is it that we are so addicted to not just perfectionism, but we're so addicted to knowing things, when I know the style, when I know the right color combination, when I know the right, A, B, and C, then I'll start working. And it just, it got me to think over the years, why does this thing always keep popping up? And what is, as I was reading, I know I'm going back and forth, but I'm trying to make a point here. As I was reading stuff from artists, I don't know if I mentioned it before to you guys, I love reading not just the art books, but the memoirs or whatever of the artist. I like to read different letters, and I'm a geek when it comes to that kind of stuff. Different stuff that was happening that maybe their art collector wrote, or a good friend, and that talked about them from another perspective, right? Not so much from a showmanship perspective, but from the real deal, right? I like to call it that. And I find over and over that artists point at it in different ways, Cézanne, Monet, not just Impressionists. I mean, Andy Warhol. Andy Warhol was, whether you like his work or not, he was definitely a great artist in many different ways. Great marketer, great designer, blah, 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 and blah, blah. And he always talked about art in a very, generic way. And people are like, oh man, he's just, trying to get away with something. But if you pay attention to some of his quotes, something like, keep making art whether people like it or not. While they're deciding, go and make some more. Or Picasso, talking about different stuff. I'm sorry, Pat. You can start from here. Hi, Walt. So I see the artists keep referring to this thing, almost pointing at, almost like a spiritual teaching. Those spiritual teachings, those very deep Eastern, and it doesn't have to be Eastern, but those philosophies, those transformational philosophies. You can see very well that it's sort of hidden. It's not, but it looks like it's hidden because it's experiential. It's not something that, oh man, I knew that. See, my whole art youth, I spent trying to know stuff. I spent all my time trying to, oh man, once I figure that out, I'm going to be a better painter. Oh, once I figure this out, and I just kept missing it and missing it and missing it. Until one day, and it didn't happen because of one day, it was an accumulation of many days, many years of frustration and whatnot. I started understanding, and I began to understand it theoretically. That action, bling, 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 bling. Action is the key to the whole thing. Action, massive, uncut, raw, nasty action is the key to all of it. Now, a lot of people don't agree with this, and I understand why. What most of us are trying to do is trying to look for the best way. You know, if we're going to sell artwork on our Etsy shop, we're thinking about what is the best way to do it. If we're going to go get a gallery opening, we're thinking about what is the best way to approach it. And while that is a smart thing to do, it always, 90% of the time, it isn't. Now I'm going to say why here, okay? The reason why is because it's just another excuse to continue procrastinating. It's just another, but no one tells us that, you know. No one really tells us that. I'm being extra generous today. But no one tells us that. Most people tell us like, oh yeah, attend this seminar or go here or learn that here. But really, no matter how much you figure out how to mix colors, no matter how much, and all of that is important, of course, it's important. You want to grow and you want to, you know, develop yourself as an artist and whatnot. But no matter what you learn here, there, everywhere, it will always come down to massive raw action. This is in sports, this is in sales, this is in painting, this is in writing. It doesn't matter what you do. Anyone that's doing sufficient of anything and is getting some sort of traction in anything will tell you the same thing. If they're not, be careful, they might be hiding something from you. So it's not knowing the next thing. It's not that it's part of it. But see, this is the thing that I was trying to say. Let me take a couple of steps back. This is the thing that I was trying to say. When I was getting into creating artwork and all this stuff, I realized that I understood a lot of stuff theoretically. It makes sense. For example, this concept of taking massive action was a concept that I understood, I don't know. I always painted more than my friends, so it's something that I always kind of understood theoretically. I was always like, oh yeah, I'm going to show up more, I'm going to paint more, I'm going to practice more. But then what happens is that many times we start getting smart and we start learning little leverage things, you know. If I learn how to, I don't know, little leverage things, whatever that is. If I had a bigger table, if I had a bigger studio, if I had a better oil, you know, and then we start getting lost in that. And then that is what creates the paralysis. So my suggestion to anyone trying to paint, or for that matter, anything, not just painting, it's not the next thing. This is, I can't say I wish someone would have told me this because I knew that, but it's something that you learn through experience. I think that pain usually is the factor. You have to have a lot of pain and say, you know what, I'm not going to put off another day to paint. I am not going to wait for the right easel. I'm not going to wait for the right canvas. I'm not going to wait for the right exhibit. I am just going to get started and I'm going to go for it. And it doesn't look right. And it probably is not the best way to do things. But in the overall, it is the best thing to do. It might not be the best way to do. That's where most of us get stuck. Doesn't matter whether you're a painter or whatever. In this case, I'm talking about art, right? But we get stuck there. We get stuck in the whole idea of what is the best way to do it. No, that's the wrong question to be asking yourself. The right question is, what is the best thing to be doing right now? I'll leave you with that. The name is Jose Trujillo. And man, I'm one hell of an artist. I hope you guys enjoy this rant. As I've been asked a few times already, what is that thing that you know, that keeps me painting and allows me to not procrastinate and to show up and to create artwork on a, you know, it's not just creating the artwork, it's different things that are happening, right? But I've been asked from artists, so I just wanted to make this quick video and talk to you guys about it a little bit. So thank you so much. Bye Walt, bye Pat, take care, and I will be talking to you guys soon again. Bye bye.